All right, folks. Today we've got Alan Edmonds. These will be the first pair of Alan Edmonds on the show. And these are actually not mine, they're my brother's. But I wanted to cover them because Alan Edmonds is a really interesting brand. Also, the only kind of heritage boot brand that has a store in my town. Their store recently closed down, but had a store. And here they are. Kind of a dressy, there's my cat. Kind of a dressy boot, a bit of a low chukka. I believe this is their Patton boot. Okay, Patton. Yeah, it feels like your classic service boot with a bit more of a dress last. And it's got this really interesting oiled nubuck leather, very, very matted down, and it's supposedly a waterproof leather. Now, I don't personally need my boots to, my leather to be waterproof. I just want the stitching to be tight and for the boots to be water resistant. But these are, it's essentially dunked in a chemical bath to make it fully waterproof. There's a lot I like about this boot, and there's a lot I like about Alan Edmonds. There's also a lot about Alan Edmonds that is, how do you say this? A bit of a tragedy. Bit of a classic American manufacturing tragedy. I am by no means an expert. I got a buddy from Wisconsin, and they're real proud of Alan Edmonds. It's just a traditional Wisconsin boot. They're still made in Port Washington, Wisconsin, but you could feel Alan Edmonds' insecurity as a brand. You could feel them going, man, we were this massive thing. Dress shoes aren't what they used to be. American manufacturing isn't what it used to be. We'll make some sneakers overseas, but we're going to still try our best to make our boots, in the U.S., which I really appreciate. That means a lot. Also, sorry we're filming at night. It's just how things have been going. But I hope the coloring looks all right. Here in the camera, it looks good. But let's first talk about this boot a minute. So it's got your classic day-night studded sole. Leather stacked heel. Is that real leather? Probably not. It's probably a leather board. I'd say it does have a leather midsole, hopefully. Certainly is a very nice leather welt. Very nice storm welt, because this is meant to be, again, a waterproof shoe. It's got a 360-degree, beautiful storm welt. It's rugged, it's nice, the stitching is consistent, and it's good. It's got a cap toe. I'm sure that's a fake toe cap. Oh yeah, there you go. Weatherproof. Interesting pull tab. I don't mind the fabric. It cheapens it a hair, but that being said, these can be more comfortable. I don't know what's going on with all the stitching here. It's cool. Looks like a flag. Looks like I don't even want to say. Yeah. External, I don't like this exposed seam. I mean, it's, again, the whole point of this shoe is that it's waterproof, and then you've got that exposed seam. And now, good thing is there is no, oh man, you could kind of feel that inside. There is no seam on the inside. It's fully leather lined, and there is no seam there. So that's good. At least there's full leather on the inside of the seam. But, I don't love the durability of this. Got a slight wrinkle there in the leather. That's okay. Alan Edmonds has not exactly been known for its finishing as of late. Yeah. This is a bit more of signs of your craftsman, shall we say? This is it's a handsome dress boot chukka. The boots that I deal in generally are a bit more rugged and a bit more refined, and this is less rugged and less refined, which is a bit of a weird thing. I'd almost, I'd expect it's a dress shoe. I'd expect it to be a bit more refined, real quick. Yeah. Interesting quarters. The pattern here is interesting. What is happening here? This is one piece of leather. I guess the inside is sewn, but you can't feel that stitch. So this is sewing something on the middle, and then you've got just the leather lining glued in there because, yeah, the stitch does not go through. Interesting. Okay. This is a nice boot. It's a nice shoe. If I paid full price for this, the $500 or whatever, $450, $500, I mean, they'd still ask me, here's the weird thing. Chances are people are buying Allen Edmonds. Allen Edmonds is going to be the best boot they'll ever buy. And isn't that wonderful? So when you get into value, it's like I'm looking off the distance. I've got Vibros over there and Chippewas over there and Yucatins over there behind this. And, so I have all this quote unquote perspective, but in some ways you actually lose perspective. You start kind of comparing everything to everything else. And you forget that this is a American made, Goodyear welted. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. I just had some fishwife mackerel, which was absolutely smoked mackerel. It was absolutely incredible. You kind of forget this is a damn good boot. It's a damn good shoe. It's got, day-night sole, really nice, 360 storm welt, an upper leather that's been thought about. It's weatherproof. It's oiled. It's nubuck. It's a decent leather. It's leather lined. Those are the ingredients for a great boot. Made in Port Washington, Wisconsin. Since what are we dealing with? Since when? 1922. Well, it's over 100 years. This is your boot, and you wear it when it's raining, when it's a little bit stormy out, and you wear it through the winter a little bit, and it takes it like a champ. Okay. I mean, this boot can last you 10 years. It could last you, heck, it could last you 20 years. If you're only kind of, it's either this or a dress shoe. So then you go, hey, is it worth $500? It's like, for that guy it is. For me, it isn't, because I know what else I can get for $500. So it's an interesting value proposition. Allen Edmonds didn't set out to compete with Truman, with everyone else. They set out to find their own niche, and they have. They're kind of backed into their corner of their own niche. Again, in some ways, I mean, they're a bit more of like they're the Midwestern version of Alden, right? They're Midwest Alden. They're a little bit sloppier, they're a bit more humble, they're a bit more earnest, and in some ways they're a bit more honest. In some ways they're a better deal than Alden in some ways, right? That being said, there's no end to people ripping Allen Edmonds boots apart, and they deserve that. They deserve to be like, hey, why am I paying $500 for a boot that's got all these synthetic materials in the middle? Has your quality gone down? Have you, so those are all very, very real complaints and worthy complaints to have at Allen Edmonds. Maybe you've been wearing Allen Edmonds for decades, and your father wore Allen Edmonds. You're like, man, they've gotten so much more expensive. They've not gotten better. So for that frustrated perspective, I totally agree. Like, I can easily take that perspective. But for some reason tonight, I'm seeing this as, maybe one of the last like USA made Goodyear welted boots or shoes being offered by Nordstrom's, right? And you go into Nordstrom, you're like, what's the best boot you've got? And they bring you to the Allen Edmonds section, and you look at these and you're like, man, I've got family from Wisconsin or whatever, there's a story, there's heritage. You go, man, they've been around since 1922. Isn't that cool? Still made in the USA. That's crazy. Everything else I'm looking around, there's Florsheim, there's Nunn Bush, or I don't even know what those brands are, but everything else has gone to hell and China. They're the holdout. So yeah, are they charging too much for a boot that you can get double the boot for sometimes even half the price? Yes, absolutely. But are many people buying an Allen Edmonds and in some ways really getting their money's worth? Yes. So I would never pay full price for this boot. I wouldn't recommend you to do that either. But if someone did, are you really being tricked? I don't think so. No, because you're still getting, again, American manufacturing. You're getting an upper that's been thought about. It's a decent leather. It's a decent to great leather. I mean, they use a lot of Horween, and this is a CF Stead. I should have mentioned that earlier. This is a CF Stead weatherproof leather. Okay. Again, I like this chunky leather Stormwell. It looks great. You're getting a day-night sole that's not going to wear through anytime soon. I mean, this boot will last. It's gonna last. So I'm trying to like let go a little bit of my snob and my, well, Allen Edmonds isn't as good as it used to be, and what the hell is this? And the stitching and the finishing is, come on, it should be better. All of that is true. I mean, there's a wrinkle in this. The welt joints are fine. There's a random mark here. There's, a bum stitch there. But, and then just in general, the components, like for the most part, Allen Edmonds, there's a guy who ripped apart some Allen Edmonds dress shoes. I believe they compared them to Blackbird out of India. And Blackbird's this just majestically made shoe. I'm getting a pair of their boots soon, by the way. I'm really excited about that. And then you compare that to Allen Edmonds, and it's like, oh my God. I did have a pair. I wish I covered them. I used to have a pair of Brooks Brothers by Allen Edmonds, like kind of shoes. I wish I covered them on the channel, but got rid of them before I did. So, I don't know. I'm feeling nice tonight, feeling nostalgic. I'm feeling sympathetic. That's a very idyllic take. I don't think it's certainly not the only correct take, but I think there's something there. I think there's something to, rooting for the last kind of Goodyear welted American-made mall brand. It's essentially what they are. They are the last American-made Goodyear welted mall brand. And that's special, man. That's really, really cool. And then I think of the wear that my brother is going to get out of these, and he'll just wear them to hell. He'll wear the heck out of them, and they're going to look great, and I'll be looking at them in 2, 3, 4 years. I'm like, man, those look awesome. And then I'll, tell him to get a resole, and I'll be like, I don't know. And then eventually, hopefully he will. I'll have them for decades. So there's something really cool about that. I think it's special. And he did not pay full price. I would never let that happen. So that's where it's at. Do I hope Allen Edmonds kind of, just nails it? And they do have some kind of really special line, and they're charging like $3,000 for these really wild makeups that are really interesting. I mean, it's certainly, not my cup of tea. Again, wouldn't be the best value, but interesting, and they use cordovan. I mean, again, when I think of the town I'm in a average to large American city, and Allen Edmonds is the last like kind of American-made shoe store that you could walk into. They closed recently, but that you could walk into and wear a cordovan. You could wear cordovan from Horween. You could try on some of that, and they often carry Shot and Barber and stuff like that. So, I'm rooting for them. I find myself tonight just rooting for a brand like this. So I hope this was informative. I hope this was helpful. It's a handsome shoe. It's not really my style, but I could see someone else just wearing the heck out of these, kind of dressing them up, wearing, pair of, J. Crew chinos and a Brooks Brothers, sweater, and you're good to go. So there we have it. I'm really, really happy to have covered Allen Edmonds, and maybe we'll cover some more. They do make a nice roper that doesn't look half bad. Again, I'm scared of what's inside of those, but maybe, just maybe, it's not the only thing that matters. Again, I'm so grateful. I say it all the time. I'm so grateful for Rosanville for exposing these brands and just cutting them open and be like, what the hell is this? You're charging me what for this? And then pulling up the a cut up shoe from another brand and be like, this is a quarter of the price and it's much better. That's such a valuable perspective. And we all take it for granted. We really all do. It's incredible. It's so freaking cool. But there's also something to that innocence of someone who doesn't know everything, who's not an aficionado going in. And, again, I don't want that person to be ripped off, but maybe they're having a better time going and spending $500 at Nordstrom's at the last American-made Goodyear welted shoe there and wearing them for 2 decades. Who's really better off? Someone arguing on Reddit about Vince from Truman Boots, or that guy? Okay, have a good weekend. Thanks so much for watching.